And if you're fortunate enough to be in a culture where they are moving past inclusion, so much so that they're doing it toward belonging. And just so you know, 89% of the global workforce, 89%, over the last 10 years has self-identified as disengaged. 89%. 72% of the world's population self-describes as unhappy. None of us really feel like we belong, do we? Right? How many of you suffer from imposter syndrome, like I did? I do in every room, right? I don't know why you guys are listening to me now, for crying out loud. I have no idea, right? We all have it. We have imposter syndrome. And what we all want to do is belong, but notice where that is, right in the middle. And belonging means I can do things like bring my best self to work. So as a leader, your job is to create a culture of belonging. And as a leader, your job is to let other people know what you need in order to feel like you belong. Your benefits, your flex work, the ability to do X, Y, and Z with the team that you're putting together. And it's with compassion. He uses the word love. And once we do that, we start to get to esteem, which he described as confidence, right? So we're conditioning ourselves up there. Finally, I'm safe enough. Finally, I'm in an environment they actually care for me. So now I can actually start bringing myself to work. And I'm here to tell you, esteem should not be mistaken for confidence. Confidence is something that you only gain by experience, and we're not falling into that trap again, are we, ladies? No. You're not going to hire me for my experience. You're going to hire me for where I want the freaking puck to be going. Like Wayne Gretzky, sorry, I love him, and I had to put a Wayne Gretzky quote in. But where you want to go. So I hear a lot from women, right? I'd only do this if, or I don't feel confident enough. And I say, number one, people know what they get when they're hiring you. So let's get past that right now. And number two, you're a disruptor. You are doing something that either you've never done before, so you've probably had to disrupt some stuff in your head, which is the place disruption always starts, in the mirror, or something no one else has ever done. That in itself, how the heck do you have experience for that? Instead, what you have is competence, and that is what esteem should be. I'll figure it out, right? I know some people who can either get me closer to when it comes to things I don't know. They can tell me what I absolutely have to know versus what I can outsource. You have the basic components to get something done. That's awesome. And that enables you to get up to self-actualization, and that is where disruption lives. But it's absolutely critical that you condition not only yourself, but the people around you to see you in a different way. Condition people on how you want to be treated. Start practicing that. It's very disruptive. And as a disruptor, one of the things we get good at very quickly is we get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Remember what you're doing. When you are advocating for yourself, when you're advocating for someone else, when you are changing even one thing. When I started losing weight, there were many people around me that did not like that. It was the strangest thing in the world. I have no idea why, right? Same thing. I'm very much a person who's always looking forward, wants to go to the next thing. It's always going to disrupt someone's system. It's very uncomfortable. You need to be conditioned for that. You need to find your allies who can be there with you and help you get to the top of the mountain. So we went from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. Now your job is to unleash that Wonder Woman superpower. To stand at the top of the mountain and say what the World Economic Forum told me, and is everyone familiar with the World Economic Forum? Yeah, right, so they study the way money flows through the world. Every year, a bunch of leaders, decision makers, business people, super smart people who not only look at trends, but then decide what they're gonna do about them impacting all of us, get together in Davos in January. Over the last few years, the World Economic Forum has focused in on the business of women. McKinsey, as a result, did a study and found that if the women in the workforce, just the women in the workforce today, were paid on par with their male counterparts, same work, same money, that it would add $18 trillion to the global economy. 18 trillion. That is more than the combined GDP of the UK, France, and Japan. We are like a 3-country gross domestic product with 90% of consumer buy decisions that we're responsible for. Holy moly. Now here's the problem and why you on the top of the mountain is so important, and your conditioning to get there and your ability to enable the next generation of leaders, men, women, brown, white, who cares, to get to the top, is because, according to the World Economic Forum, it is going to be another 219 years until women are on par with men. What are you doing in 219 years, right? You gonna be here? Probably not, right? Well, maybe, I don't know. But, right, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So let's end here. I want to challenge you to be the voice at the top of that mountain. I want to challenge you to create a movement of any size, to join a movement, to bring your competencies to the table, the ones that you worked so hard to achieve, those hard skills, but my God, those leadership skills that we need today and tomorrow. There is no trust in management anymore. There's no trust in government anymore. What has been conditioned out of you, men and women, your human side, your leadership side, you need to bring that back to the table. That's what gets you to the top of that mountain. That's what enables you to gather your tribe, right? Like I did in running. Gather your tribe of mountaineers, and you're gonna throw your name in the hat for that board seat. You're gonna throw your name in the hat for that big project. Ladies, you are sitting in the room with, how many women are here? 150? 150 other fellow disruptors. You're not alone. Gather your tribe. You're given something in your book around what you're going to gather your tribe around. I hear a lot of things when it comes to disruption, especially in executive coaching of teams and of individuals. Well, I want to disrupt something, but I have no idea what, right? Or I know what needs to be disrupted, I have no idea how, what the hell am I thinking? So there's a 3-box exercise. This is something you can do individually, something you can do with your team, something you can do for your personal life, your professional life, it doesn't matter. But the first box is, what's the change you want to see in the world? What could be different? What could be better? Write it down. The second box, and what will the naysayers say? 150 different unconscious biases are going to inform that, and guess who the biggest naysayer is? Exactly, it's the person in the mirror. Write it all down. Who do you think you are? What are you thinking? You're too busy, you don't have the right degrees, no one's gonna listen to you, no one wants to see this change, it's just the way the thing is. Whatever, write it all down. And then that final piece, that final box, becomes how you ignite that superpower. And it is, and what will you say to the naysayers? My personal motto, this is my personal Everest. When I was training for my always doing races uphill thing, I was working with someone to very quickly condition me to be able to do a triathlon. I was starting from pretty much ground zero. And he taught me in running and cycling and swimming, you're literally just looking at the front of you, and that's it. Because if you look up to the top of the mountain, if you look up to that finish line, you start losing confidence. You start listening to the naysayers. Focus on this. Look up every once in a while, right? So you don't hit something or someone, right? But look up every once in a while. That's critically important. There's 2 other things that I want you to take away. I'm not a big believer in sage on the stage, and I've also done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of keynotes. And what always happens, and I've also sat in hundreds and hundreds of keynotes, and here's what usually happens. Get all motivated, I can see myself disrupting, I'm amazing, just ask me, right? Everything's wonderful. And then you go through those little magic doors back there, right? And you go back to life, and what happens? It's just not gonna work. That was great. I don't remember what she just said, right? All of these things happen. We go back to work and nothing changes. One of the best things we can do right now is create the disruption. And here's how we're gonna do it. We always wonder how people are going to help us. I heard somebody, as I was walking in earlier, talk about mentoring and how the mentor gets more than the mentee. So what I want you to do, every person, men and women in this room, is I want you to take this one thing away. I want you to find a woman who is killing it at work, killing it. She's, big projects, she's getting a lot of playtime, everything's awesome, she's doing great. And I want you to take her out to lunch, out to coffee, something. And I want you to find out what motivates her. What were the disruptions that she created based on the barriers that she saw? Because again, disruptors see every barrier as a strategy waiting to happen, so much so that they usually end up creating a new world they want to live in. It's pretty amazing. So find that out, and then I want you to invite her to your next team meeting, to your next all hands, to share her story, so that others can learn about the world she created and how she created it. You don't have to call out, by the way, that she's a young woman. Let's start erasing that stuff now. She's simply an amazing leader that's doing amazing things. We all face adversity. We want to know about hers. Give her the stage. The second one I challenge you to do, so much so that if I see any of you, even 6 months from now, I would love a story that you tell me about what you did and how it not only impacted the person I'm about to talk about, but how it impacted you. And that is this. Look very, 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 very hard for a woman who is solving all the big problems, doing all the hard work, only to be overlooked and probably put on to the next thing that's broken. Many of us women do that. She's probably going to be in her 30s and 40s, and I really, really, really hope that you pay attention to that population, because they are the most overlooked, underserved, undervalued, underinvested in population. We tend to invest in the early, and we tend to invest toward the end. We need to focus there. That's where the biggest pay gaps come. That's where we have the challenges around who gets promoted and who doesn't. So I want you to find her, and I want you to invite her out to coffee, lunch, every quarter. And I want you to find out not only what her experience has been, but you guessed it. What does she want to do, right? What does she want to do? Not based on her experience, but based on her potential. Mm-hmm. And then I want you, in every room you hear of a project that is going toward what she wants to do, of a job that's going toward what she wants to do, I want you to do what men have known that they needed to do since they entered the workforce, and that is to become an advocate and a champion for her when she is not in the room, right? Throw her name in the hat. Is everyone gonna do that? Yeah, we're all gonna do that. We're all gonna do that. So let's end with this, seeing as I'm probably like 50 minutes over time. The thing about disruption is that when you let it be your superpower, you start seeing inequities you never saw before. And you can't stop until you have fully disrupted them, so that you have created a new world where all talent, regardless of gender, skin color, trait, it doesn't matter, cognitive positioning, processing, so that all talent can be enabled to harness their own power and thrive, and so that you can invite the rest of us to join you. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference.